今天的直播，我是好美。我们要不要多一点效果啊？比如这个之类的，像这样讲话会比较好吗？我来看看啊。巴拉巴巴，不要这么害怕嘛！不要这么害怕嘛！我们稍微的多一点点，气氛不好吗？只是一个小故事而已，一起来听吧。但如果你对尸体不舒服的话，我劝你现在右转。没有人知道这是怎么发生的。A boy, barely reaching double digits in years, was lying dead in the driveway. Green and red pop was painted everywhere. 这个男孩就这么倒在车道上，红色跟粉色的到处都是。不小心撞到的话，自然是要倒车，对吧？但他到底怎么下去那里了？为什么他会躺在那边呢？是某一种没有办法解释的科学力量吗？某一种没有办法解释的超自然力量吗？我在尝试了，女人。男人是这么说的。一个无辜的生命就这样子被夺走了，而且是被用很暴力的方式夺走。那这是不是一件很残酷的事情呢？但对我来说，我觉得崇拜上帝应该不会给任何回应吧。女人跑向了那一个尸体，然后尝试要把它唤醒，把它拖出来，把它放在外面。她一直看着那一个身体。The woman ran to the body, attempting to reattach fragments of jaw back onto the skull. One figure jumped out of the car in pursuit while the other was frozen in place outside. She had watched the full event unfold in front of her. 还是我应该切成中文的，你们会比较有感觉啊。那要等我一下咯。哦，没有，我这有开 echo 啊，我是有开 echo 的哦。但中文是简体，希望你们不介意的话，就加减看看吧。宝贝，说话呀，拜托了。他死了。不，他没死。看，他还在动呢，难道你听不见他在哭吗？晚安，晚安，祝你有个好梦。希望那个梦里 会让你感受到安全。你已经疯了，那你就是聋了。我们得救救儿子，还有希望。开车送他去医院。他的脑浆都溅到人行道上了，他已经离开这个世界了。你听安安。不，他没有，你骗人！帮帮我！我来调整一下音量好了。我发现我自己的声音比预期的大声。但是，如果你还在乎我和我们的孩子们，现在就去，不能就这样把他留在外面。在邻居们过来之前，我们应该把他带进屋里去，然后再决定怎么办。对啊，你看，英文比较有 feel， 对吧？那我们就再把它换回来吧。瞬间变得像什么大陆抖音之类的。It's okay. It's okay. You can hug me tighter, darling. We didn't mean it. He's still alive. Ann. Mommy, what's going on? Don't worry. There was just a little accident, but everything is going to be okay. I promise. We should replace his head.Quick, our garden. A pumpkin should be the best size. 我月月安安，我们现在要把头拿起来了。那一个很久以前，这个圆满的家庭就因为这一场车祸被撕得支离破碎了。那他们的生命，他们未来的人生也从此永远的改变了。Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife but couldn't keep her. He put her in the pumpkin shell, and there he kept her very well. The mother stood panting and admiring her creation.Wiping off any blood from her hands onto her apron. It was a little crude, yes, but it worked better than she expected. Outside, the father stared in the sky, while the daughter couldn't look away from the driveway mess. Her head hurt from crying her heart out.你觉得呢？是啊，是那个游戏。It's going to rain soon. It will wash everything away, as if nothing happened. Are we really not going to do anything? 我们可以看到女生其实非常自责。那作为父亲的这个时候还在安慰，对，他在安慰他的女儿。我会想办法让你不会受到那种侵扰。I'll think of something. Daddy is tougher than you think. For now, humor your mother by going alone. I will be hosing down the driveway. 女儿很害怕。I'm scared. I hate this. 但爸爸只是拍了拍她的肩膀。The father reassuringly pat her on the shoulder. Though he was a man of few words, The father did love his wife, but most importantly, he loved his image. He didn't want his family to be branded as miscreant. They had just committed vehicular manslaughter. There had to be a way of disposing of the body. 所以他们现在我天啊，我现在才看到这些南瓜。他希望他理想中的家庭是不会破灭的，直到刚才那件事情发生之前。所以我们还是要演出一个完美的家庭剧嘛，对吧？晚餐好咯，该进门了。大空警察早安。我可以感受到妹妹其实还蛮不自在的。The two were greeted by the son, who was sitting in Grandpa's old wheelchair. The most bizarre sight, however, was a pumpkin in place of a human head. Its face carved into a welcoming green. One could still see the remnants of the original crushed head within the holes. 那你在南瓜上面挖了这个洞，你用这个南瓜头去代替了原本的头，然而里面的东西怎么烂掉的还是还清晰可见呢？这个真的有办法代替吗？ See, the head looked just like him. 妈妈笑了。He said he likes his chair, but wishes it wasn't so squeaky. Dear, could you do me a favor and purchase some oil tomorrow? Oh, of course. 男人显得很尴尬。Well, everyone, don't just stand here. Catch flies. Catch flies? 也就是说，这个时候已经开始有苍蝇了吗？ Let us wash our hands and begin the dinner prayer so we can eat. 做饭前祈祷，再来吃晚餐。那他们当然还是会有一些对话嘛，餐桌上总是这样子的。但到底说了些什么呢？有一种无法形容的沉闷的空气就在中间蔓延开来，而且他们的母亲，他的老婆，一直表现着一种异常的活动力嘛。Here comes the airplane。就像这样，他把他的汤匙拿起来，然后想要喂到这个南瓜头的嘴里。She was spoon-feeding him. The daughter grimaced at her, shoving mashed potatoes in the son's mouth. 曾启明安安。那女生从头到尾对这件事情都是不自在的。The girl looked at the father for guidance, but he did not return her gaze. 那爸爸从头到尾都在回避这件事情，他回避了自己的女儿想要得到的救赎跟求救的眼神，他完全不想要面对这一切，他的心里还在 picture， 还在构筑着不想要破灭的那个家庭的模样，所以他不想要去忤逆他的老婆，那在这中间还想要去安慰他的女儿。The daughter focused her attention back to the food on her plate. It smelled good, but the meat resembled an awful a lot like her brother's. 在车祸之后目睹了现场，晚餐却还有肉。She dry heaved， 她全身超级不舒服，她非常非常不自在，而且我们可以看到这个房间很显然是她跟她弟弟一起休息的房间。After silently washing the dishes with her mother, the daughter headed straight to bed. She had no energy left in her. 然而，妈妈却把轮椅推进来了。It's rude leaving your brother at the table, you know. He's going to sleep with me? Of course, why wouldn't he? You two have always shared the bedroom. Why is he so hard to move? His joints are all locked up. I swear he was much more relaxed this afternoon. 他所有的关节都变得僵硬了，但他的妈妈不想承认这件事情。他依然想把他摆到床上。那他用尽了全身的力气，把他的儿子放到儿子该在的床上。She first tucked in the son, then the daughter, making sure to kiss each of their foreheads. Sweet dreams, you two. 在这种状况下，母亲依然给了这一对兄妹，给这一对姐弟，一个人一个额头上的亲吻。晚安 ，Good night, Mom. With a flick of the switch, the room fell into darkness. Even with the daughter's back turned, she knew those carved eyes were boring into her. 第一天过去了。Have a good day at work. Remember what I've told you, dear. That is final. Wake up, it's time for school. Her brother was still lay in bed, so it wasn't a nightmare after all. As per usual, the mother tied the daughter's bow, blue, her favorite color. Your brother needs to stay at home for a while, so he can recover from his injuries. Listen, whatever you do, don't tell anyone what happened yesterday. It will be our family's little secret. Do you understand? Oh, okay. I'm glad you're so well behaved. Mommy and Daddy are trying their best despite our predicament. The girl shoved off towards the school bus, completely bewildered at the mother's nonchalant attitude. After waving the daughters goodbye, the older woman returned to the house. Only the mother and the son remained. Thankfully, his body had loosened up again, so it was easier to carry him out of the bed and into the wheelchair. Don't get so full of yourself. You'll still have to study at home. Don't give me that look either. You know puppy dog eyes are my weakness. 那这个时候我们可以看到只有南瓜头，但妈妈现在是在对着有南瓜头的儿子自说自话。在前面那样子对女儿说完你不可以把家里面的这件事情，昨天发生的这件事情告诉任何人之后，这个要成为家族里的秘密之后，送了女儿出门之后，这样跟儿子的尸体独留在家里面。Today was typically the day she spent cleaning the entire house, despite her being a stay-at-home mother. It was a full job taking care of the estate, not to mention her family. She pulled out the vacuum cleaner. Several hours of busy work would be good to take her mind off of yesterday's event. 做一个全职的家庭主妇，这一天就是她打扫家里的日子。那打开吸尘器，认真的打扫可以让她 分心分神，不要再去想昨天发生的事情。但是他还是停不下来。你渴了吗？ Are you thirsty? Would you like me to bring you a drink? You're not? That's fine. If you need anything, just call for me and I'll be there in a jiffy. It was a lovely day today, and her son could use some fresh air. The mother pushed him out to the veranda behind the house to face the family's pumpkin patch, so no nosy neighbors could see him. 背对着，所有的樊篱都挡住了他们后院的那个南瓜田。他推着他的儿子到后面那个南瓜田去呼吸新鲜空气。The mother entered a comfortable, clean room, letting all worries slip away. 那他随后又进来了，但闪电来了，马上就要下雨了。The sky suddenly opened up. The mother was glad for the sudden rain. Their pumpkin patch desperately needed. Wait, her son was still outside. The mother dragged him inside and threw several towels on him. She pressed against them, drying him as fast as she could. What a fool she was! Taking him outside really was a bad idea. She promised herself she wouldn't slip up like that again. Oh dear, oh dear. Your clothes are soaking wet. I can't have you catching a cold. I'm going to have to change them, if that is all right with you. 现在看起来都是身为妈妈的扮家家酒了。Dinner was again silent. Usually, the daughter was the chattest, bragging forever about what she had learned in the school or in her books that day. Now she was poking her stew. It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. The daughter refused to respond. Huffing in annoyance, the mother turned her attention to her husband. Your son and I had a great time together. He was very quiet, but to complete his required reading, I consider that great progress. 父亲受不了这一切了，他要离开这个家里。他要去外面，他没有办法忍受他的妻子是这个样子的。但是I'm sorry， 但是他又没有办法对外人去道这件事情，这个间接承认了他们谋杀了自己的儿子，他没有办法接受这件事。Dear, but we haven't finished yet. I'll be back soon. 他离开了。Goodness, what has gotten into everyone? 我们都知道母亲看起来像疯癫了，但看起来没有人要去劝这个母亲，母亲也没有办法停下来。After dinner and its clean-up ended, the mother and daughter went their separate ways. The mother fell fast asleep in the daughter's bedroom. The girl was looking for any sign of life in her brother. Pale skin, dried blood around his neck, and a burgundy discoloration in the arms and hands. It just wasn't a human. She reached out for his arm. Touching her brother was a familiar occurrence. Play, fighting, share food. She interacted with him as any sibling would. 跟他最亲近的姐妹，跟他最亲近的兄弟就这么死掉了。但是在这眼前的这一个根本就不是他曾经认识的那个兄弟。Even if the two had spent hours in snow, She had never touched a person so cold before. The daughter shrunk back. She lacked the heart to continue calling him her brother. The figure tucked gently into bed. Wasn't it? 只是个他，而不是他了，不再是他了。Without a word, she put in the covers over the body. 第二天 It's school time. Please get dressed. When the daughter awoke, she found the body back to leering at her. The blanket must have slipped up during the night, uncovering the head once more. A fly landed on the pumpkin. Hello, who is this? Yes, I am the mother. Yes, ma'am, I'm assured you everything is fine with my son. He's been feeling a little under the weather lately. Thank you. Goodbye. The teacher on the phone sounded incredibly displeased. Timeliness and attendance had always been one of the family's virtues, so the mother was quite embarrassed. In addition, the mother felt guilty for not informing the teacher about her son's absence ahead of time, but her husband kept instructing her not to speak about her son's accident. The father did not return that night. To help alleviate the awkwardness, the mother attempted some small talk. 妈妈为了要减除这种尴尬的气氛，她想要缓和整个家庭的气氛。看样子她是决定找女儿来谈话咯。So, how was your day today? Learning anything fun? Kind of. Was dinner to your liking? You need to eat your vegetables to grow big and strong. I guess. Your brother was telling me a funny story today about how you both accidentally broke a vase by playing tag. You were so horrified. You ran out of the house and climbed a tree to hide. 所以一具尸体到底要怎么诉说一个跟妹妹鬼抓人的故事呢？到底要怎么诉说妹妹非常疯狂的他们一起撞破了一个花瓶之后，她冲出家门，攀到了树上去躲藏呢？ He tried to save you by climbing the tree, but ended up getting stuck there too. You two must have been up there for an hour by the time your father and I came home from the grocery store. I swear, you kids are always up to mischief whenever your parents are out of the house. 母亲就这样自己讲完，然后自己笑了。然后他就继续拿着他的汤匙喂向他的儿子。The mother chuckled and spoon-fed out some more broccoli to the son. The house was starting to smell. It was musty, like meat starting to spoil. The daughter knew exactly what was causing that odor, and it made her stomach churn. After dinner, we can put on radio. The Lone Ranger might be on. You like cowboys, don't you? No, not really. I'm heading to bed. Fine, then. Your brother and I will enjoy the program without you, Miss Grumpy Pants. The mother's first task of the day after sending the daughter and her husband off was attend to her son. She hasn't noticed it before, but certain areas of the child's skin were discolored. 开始变色了。It had the same green and blue hues of the bruises, but the eerie marbling patterns were nothing like she had seen before. At least, it was faint. Are you playing with markers? Pulling out the sponge, she washed the spot, but it refused to scrub off. She retrieved her makeup kit to cover up the blemishes. 因为用菜瓜布刷不掉，最后妈妈的决定是拿她的化妆品去把那些像是淤青一样的斑点盖住。Tomorrow she would look for a stronger cleaner for his skin. Sweetheart, could you pass the salt to your brother? He looks like he needs some. The daughter hesitated. But he's okay. 因为看着妈妈的脸色，她还是做了。I appreciate you being so well behaved since your brother's injury. It makes Mommy's job just a little easier. Don't worry, he will be back into running around with you in no time. Again, the father did not return for dinner. The daughter was beginning to think that he had run away for good. She did not blame him, but why couldn't he take her away with him? As the women were cleaning up, the door flew open. It was father. 看起来爸爸还蛮醉的。The girl's nose crinkled at the heavy liquor smell coming from him. Home, hadn't you back? No dinner needed. It took you long enough. I'm not happy. Our son needs you right now. I don't want to hear your nagging, woman. The daughter sprinted to her room before she became caught in the crossfire. 那女儿还要在这种状况下逃离父母的吵架，逃进那一个必须跟哥哥一起睡觉的房间。She could already hear the screaming in the parents' bedroom. Knowing her mother, this could take hours. It like several days before the siblings found themselves staring at each other in bed. It was becoming tough to look at him. The fullness of his seconds made her eyes burn like moldy salami. She failed to suppress a tremble as she noticed the white fuzz growing in the vegetable's eye. 那很显然的，我们的南瓜开始发霉了。She felt nothing but sympathy for the crops. He deserved a proper burial like Grandpa, not kept around in this desecrated state. Brother, are you in heaven? Are you at peace right now? 那看样子，这整个家里面唯一替哥哥的灵魂真正担心的剩下妹妹而已了。The entire family was kept to themselves in the living room. The father was reading a newspaper, the daughter playing with jacks, the son sitting silently in the corner, and the mother frantically running around, spraying as much bug spray as she could. 而且很显然的，这个屋子开始长虫了。因为她开始在屋子里面喷杀虫剂了。There are flies everywhere. I'm so sick of their buzzing. I'm worried that all of the noise is bothering our son. He needs as much sleep as possible to recover. Dear, do you need something went bad in the pantry? If you help me move some boxes, I can clean it up today. Dear, are you listening? The father threw his newspaper on the floor. 看起来爸爸受不了了。I'm I'm tired of playing pretend. You're taking this too far. What do you mean? As in, I'm disposing of his body properly. I'm digging his grave, and you would not stop me. Without hesitation, he left the room and returned with a shovel. He grabbed the wheelchair. The mother also latched onto it, pulling it to her side with all of her might. Left and right, the blood body was just between the parents, almost ready to top over out of its seat. No, leave him alone. You can't keep him like this. Yes, I can. He's our son. Stop scaring him. For heaven's sake, he's green and smells like sweat. Does that sound normal to you? The wife should always listen to the husband. Don't be foolish. Once he's buried in the pumpkin patch, we shall never speak of this again. A couple inches to the right, that the china glass would have blinded him. Don't you dare take him away from me. Her outburst was completely uncharacteristic to the father and daughter, and it shocked them. Who or what had possessed the mother? Please, we can get you some help. You're being hysterical. The mother opened the nearby drawer and grabbed a large knife. She was a good cook and knew her courtly well. The woman looked terrified, shakily holding that knife, but wholly prepared to strike in defense. I will die before ever letting my children get in harm's way. You're a danger to us. I'll do it. I'm not afraid to do it. The father dropped the shovel, backing slowly away until he was trapped against a wall. Unfortunately for him, the mother closed the distance between the two. That's right. You were the one who ran him over in the first place. So don't you dare lay another finger on his head, murderer. I've been following your every order, but look where that's gotten us. For the sake of our children, I think it's time you started listening to me. 妈妈疯了呢。We're going to continue taking care of our son because it had a nasty accident and needs our help. Do you understand? 一边想要直接把孩子埋起来了，因为他确实是开车的那个人，他受过这一切的家家酒了，他想要结束这一切，他想要在他们家的后院就挖了一个坟，把他的儿子埋起来，结束这一切，不要再提起。另外一边认为自己的丈夫就是个杀人犯，他认为这一切都不该发生，他甚至是认为他不应该再碰任何一根手指在他的孩子身上。他威胁着他的丈夫不准再碰他，不准再碰他们。他甚至威胁着他的丈夫再来都应该要听他的。看起来这个丈夫屈服了，因为他没有办法承担这个杀人的罪名。The wife raised the knife at his face. I said, do you understand? Yes. Yes, I understand. Don't hurt me. Good. Now we are going to have ourselves a nice little dinner. Anyone objection? Any objections? The room stayed silent. Mother's demeanor became gentler. but she continued to grip that knife as if her life depended on it. I'm glad, sweetheart. Please follow Mommy and help her out. We are returning your brother to the bedroom. I think things are a little too loud for him around here. You two have been so inconsiderate. 看起来这个爸爸平时没想使唤人哦，看起来是的呢。老婆就应该要听老公的这种话都会说出来了。第7天咯。Happy birthday! Unwrap that already. Wow, a bike! Thank you. Sure things Borge had about we break it in after the party. Yes, please. This is the best day ever. Can I ride it too? No way. You still need training wheels. Mom, he's being mean. Don't get too rowdy. You still have to unwrap the last of your presents. Who else want another slice of cake? Me. 过去 Are you mad at Mommy and Daddy for hurting you? Thank goodness. I feel so relieved. I always tell your daddy to be more careful when he's driving, but he never listened. The mother picked up another marble and tossed into a bin. It was starting to overflow, but at least she was making progress removing the squirming creatures. 看样子是长虫咯。I know. That feels much better, doesn't it? She was a patient woman. His healing process shouldn't take much longer. 很快的第10天了。I was a little late today, waking you up. Please get dressed as soon as possible. Bottle after bottle, the mother used her aerosol freshener to help air out of the room. Black. With her another hand, she squashed a Scotland beetle. By now she was certain that something went bad in the pantry for there to be such a large bug infestation. As much as she wasn't looking forward to it, she may have to clean out the entire pantry. She smacked a fly who was resting on top of her son's head. Oh my! I'm sorry for using the fly swatter on you. Did that hurt? While the mother was hard at work cleaning the house, the daughter nowadays avoided going inside as much as possible. Every day when she came home, her brother's body would be happily greeting her. She just couldn't handle the rotting sights and smells anymore. The smell of his exudation was overpowering. 味道开始散开了，已经没有办法遮盖了。那他也没有办法再继续忍受那个发霉的头，那个看起来逐渐死去的尸体的样子。他就是没有办法忍受这一切，他越来越抗拒回到屋子里面，回到房间这件事情。Green and brown juices dripped from his head and soaked his clothes. It wasn't rotten meat or spoiled milk anymore. It was death. 那就是死亡的气味而已，那已经不是什么坏掉的食物，什么坏掉的牛奶的味道了。No kids want to be near her either. In the corner of her eye, she could see them gag and hold their noses, as if she was the disease of herself. 而且她身上开始沾到味道了，沾到她的同学 每个都捏着鼻子，在最远的角落，没有人想靠近他。这其实很悲伤。Are you sure you don't want to stay with me a little longer? I can't. I have to get back home to my wife. 那看起来老公是开始外遇咯。But you've been looking so stressed recently. Is everything okay at home? The father let out a deep sigh. Not particularly. Oh dear. Oh dear indeed. I haven't been treated the best recently. My wife has been so demanding, screaming at me for the littlest things. She is struggling around like she wears the pants around the house now. I can't get any peace and quiet in my own home. I need to show her who's boss. She can't keep pushing me around like this. I'm a man for God's sake. I wish you luck. You can always keep crawling back to me to lick your wounds. 白心安安，我们现在在念一个深夜的故事，但是这个故事大部分都是英文的，我会做一些小小的中文评论，如果不介意的话，可以留下来一起听。Where have you been? It's really late. Work. Our son was asking about you today because you failed to show up for supper. Again. You are worrying him sick. Every single day you talk about that blessed son. I don't like how you do your job and make the money. I take care of the house and kids. Why is that so hard for you to understand? Yet you call me foolish. He was humiliated from how quickly she shut him out. At least she couldn't dictate his action outside of the home. He berated himself for his cowardice. 很快的又过了4天。看起来是变颜色了。Darling, I'm sorry that dinner was a little rushed. Taking care of your brother was consuming most of my day today. It was worse than rushed, more like she threw random ingredients in a dip or not into a pot. This past week, it seemed that most of her meals were ending in this similar fate. The daughter poked a semi-charred apple with her fork. Ah! There was a maggot living in her food. Oh my, what have I told you about not washing your hands before you eat? You need to wash them before frequently. Were you playing outside? 那我们看得到爸爸已经开始留了胡渣了。那刚刚发生什么事情呢？很显然是插起来的苹果上有蛆。Stop it already! How can you two continue pretending everything is normal? Dear, tell her that everything is normal. The father looked like he was in a trance, wrinkly chewing his food without a care in the world. Listen to your mother more. She is correct. It's not true. Why did you insist on talking back? You are a child. You don't understand anything. Treat your parents with some respect. The mother began to spoon-feed the body again. The spoon's contents also hardly contained maggots. The milk-white maggot slipped from the softening pumpkin head and landed onto the spoon, oblivious to the mother. 因为他已经癫狂了啊，他完全不在乎这一切了，他认为他的儿子依然活着，他不想承认这所有的东西。Yummy, isn't it? Oh God, she was going to read. I'm going to my room. As you should, no supper for the rest of the night. The daughter was forced to cart the body back into their bedroom, making sure to avoid touching his slimy body as little as possible. His abdomen, distended beyond belief, was straining to rip through his clothes. The gorgon insects were taking delight in how he was a balloon ready to pop. Who knew that purted horrors were trapped inside him? 妹妹真的很难过。The girl fell to her knees weeping. Mother kept saying everything was fine, but of course it wasn't. What wouldn't she give to return to normalcy? Whatever did she do to deserve this torture? If only she and her brother hadn't been roughhousing when the car came. When she looked up, the body was now facing away from her, giving her some semblance of privacy during her grief. Or was he always facing that way? She couldn't remember. Thank you. Of course there could be no response, yet she still felt urged to say something. I miss you, brother. I miss you so much. 第17天 School now. 已经变成一坨了，而且很显然的颜色已经不是那种蓝蓝的颜色了。Another day, another garbage bag full of empty box spray. The mother dabbed away any leakage from the son's body, alongside some flaking at the pressure. It was too much of a mess moving him in and out of the wheelchair anymore, not to mention ruining her full story, so she might as well clean him where he sat. You need to take care of yourself more. The last time I sponged bath you was when you were a wee baby. Not to say you're not still mommy's little baby. She was frustrated with how many rages it took to maintain her son's cleanliness. He was slowly making his way through her favorite dishes rage. The pelican pattern on one shoe was using was soaked with the murky browns and greens. Her poor pumpkin seemed to be covered in a greasy black substance. It was his job to clean the stuff up. The mother dabbed harder against his arm, accidentally scraping off a small section of skin. She groaned when more fluid oozed from the spot. Your sister had been refusing to help with laundry. Can you believe it? I wish she was as well behaved as you. No one else wants to spend time with dear old mom. That's why you have always been mommy's favorite. Give me a second, I'll be right back. Hello? Yes, this is the mother. What? My daughter said that? About that, I think a raccoon died in the walls. We're going to have to get it looked at. Yeah, she's just overreacting. Children have such vivid imaginations. Her first clenched. That girl. Because the school bus had long since left, the mother had to drive to school to pick her up. 这个就不好说了，但看起来妈妈是不能接受女儿这样子的告密行为的。 他完全没有想要继续去理解自己的女儿为什么这么做这件事情。They drove back in silence with the daughter walked awkwardly, fidgeting. The mother looked like she was about to blow a gasket. Okay, explain yourself. Your teacher said that you were insistent on not returning home because there's a corpse in our house. Do you know how embarrassed I was? But it's true. There are insects crawling all over him and the house. I don't know how much more I can take. I feel so sick. The mother glanced at the body. What's that, darling? She's being quite rude. Yes, I agree with you. Mom. His dad. He'll never respond. When will you do something about it? It's awful living here. What a horrible thing to say about your brother. I thought I raised you better than that. Everything has gone downhill since he died. You don't do my hair bow anymore. The food is rotten. Daddy Barry ever comes home and I can't stand all the smell. I know you're still grieving, but when will you ever get it through your thick head? 很显然的，妈妈打了女儿一巴掌。唉，这么癫狂的母亲，到底什么时候才有办法醒悟？The mother's eyes watered at the wringing of her hand and to her weeping daughter on the floor. The woman had spanked both of her children for misbehaving before, but she had never strengthened their face. You hit me. Sweetie, I didn't mean it. I don't know what came a hold on me. You know I'm so stressed from taking care of your brother. I don't know who you are anymore, but you're not my mom. I hate you. Darling. No, you can't hide this anymore. I'm telling the police about you and my brother. She sprang to the phone, but the mother grabbed her by the hair. Pain seared through the girl's body. 妈妈抓住了女儿的头发。You insolent child, after everything I've done for you. It hurts, mother. It hurts. You're going to rip my scalp off. The prep-skin girl has no physical power over a fully grown woman. The daughter was dragged across the wood floor, using all of her strength to attempt to release herself. 她一边挣扎，一边就这样子被妈妈拖上楼了。When the mother reached the children's bedroom, she threw the girl inside. The door locked. Let me out! I'm begging you. Mommy is so tired. The poor wretched girl banged and banged again on the door. To no avail. The mother wasn't even listening to her. And I'm sure you're tired of arguing as well. Daddy disagreed for a while, but he eventually learned that Mommy always knows best. All we have to do is wait a bit longer until your brother heals up. You believe Mommy, don't you? I need to tell your father about this. He will not be pleased. No, I'm sorry. If you were truly sorry, you would have been a better sister. You can be that now. That night, the daughter had a nightmare. Maggots covered every square inch of her body, twisting and writhing to find any way to burrow deeper inside. She would have screamed if her mouth wasn't equally stuffed with maggots. 所以他做了一个全身爬满蛆虫的噩梦，他梦到这些虫想要往更深更深的地方钻去，他很想要尖叫，但那些蛆虫塞满了他的嘴巴。The white worm slithered across the remains of her tongue, bashing against the walls of her pumpkin head, trying to escape. She could feel their tiny mouths eating away at her, bit by bite. Hello there, my sweet baby boy. I was just checking up on you. Did I disturb your sleep? No, she wasn't her brother. Leave her alone. You haven't fallen asleep yet. Are you having trouble? I can read you a bedtime story if you would like. Which one do you want to hear? If I remember correctly, The Ugly Duckling was your favorite. She sat down next to the daughter, unaware of the slimy, screaming creatures crawling their way onto the hem of her dress. Buzzing blowflies danced above the two, and she began to read. The air was suffocating. Good night. May you have a sweet dream. She kissed the pumpkin. Dark slime clung to her lips for her sweet goodnight smooch. 幽灵早安。The room fell into darkness. 我们现在在念这个故事，可能会让你有一些生理上的不适。如果你真的觉得不舒服，我会建议你们先转台。那等到你觉得这些东西吃完了，你 OK 了，你不会吐出来了，你们再回来都 OK。The room fell into darkness, leaving the daughter alone, coughing and gagging into the night. Yes, ma'am. My daughter is at home too. The kids' measles have gotten pretty bad, but they should be returning to school any day now. Yes, of course. I've been homeschooling them in the meantime. What do you think I've been doing this entire time? My babies will be back when they're ready, not a day sooner. You can't stop calling them. The mother was exhausted from the incessant phone calls. Just yesterday, the electric company has threatened to shut down the power if the bills weren't paid, but she knew she had paid them. The son's skin looked even worse today. 我们看到有黑黑的东西冒出来了。Concerningly worse, his skin was soaked paper towel, tearing just as easily. The mother brought out the more of her makeup kit, ready to powder all of the putrefaction. 我觉得这个变成中文的话会更不舒服一点。他这整个过程有点像是母亲，因此她没有想面对自己的儿子死亡的这件事情。那她拿了更多她的化妆品出来，要把这些不是肤色的地方盖过去。Though unlike her previous attempts, her son's skin refused to obey. Like a silk glove, the skin slipped out, landing silently onto the ground. The ease of such a feat shocked her. 那皮肤开始剥落了，就像一片轻飘飘的羽毛掉到地上，一点声音都没有。Then more and more and more until he was resembling some blood lizard emerging from his mouth. With each opening, a drip of black steel like good kept trickling down his limbs. 母亲恳求着这一切不要发生。No, no, 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 don't do this. She pressed her head against him to hamper any further slothing. In retaliation, a geyser of thick fluid spurted from his torso, accompanied by air to fill the describe. 直喷出来了。Finally, the string of the bodily disciplines came to rest. The child in front of her was partially deflated, sagging further into his sock seat. This wasn't good. Why wouldn't her husband take their child to the hospital? The mother was damned near, ready to herself, but she knew the jostling from the trip would make things worse. 我们现在换成中文的话，应该会超级哑背的。来换换看。Our preference. 即使是他手最轻柔的触摸，对他都是危险的。眼泪在他的眼睛里打转，他还能做什么呢？儿子的脸扭曲成一种释然的微笑。劳累的女人低下头，看见自己的裙摆被各种各样的黑色液体染了色，触摸她的衣服只会让她的手进一步沾上黏液。妈妈剩下这一天都在打扫这个烂摊子。她洗完澡之后就上床睡觉了。第22天，每一次女儿房间的门被打开，都是为了给她送吃的。每一次的时间都不确定，她很难让自己计算出自己什么时候可以逃跑。她吹不上任何东西，每一餐里面都有蛆在上面蠕动。被困在这间发脓溃烂的房间里，她的全身上下都刺痒难耐。他拍掉了胳膊上一只饥饿的苍蝇，他们平时的食物来源现在被挪到客厅好几天了，但他们很乐意来骚扰他。女儿想起了约伯，那个圣经里的人物。虽然他经历了重重磨难，历经了千辛万苦，但他依旧没有放弃希望，最后获得了上帝的恩赐。他可以效仿他熬过这一切，他只有这一点强过他的母亲，那就是保持理智。警察来了，为什么？妈妈看了眼自己身后的房间，把它藏起来，确保警察不会听到孩子们的声音。下午好，警官，有什么事情啊？打扰了，女士，今天有人报警通报你们的邻居不太高兴。没事，警官，一切都没有问题。我们家一直都有各种害虫的问题，我们在竭尽所能的处理干净了。食物储藏室里生了虫子，墙里死了浣熊，就像一场噩梦。哦天哪，我都能闻到了，你这后面是藏了个臭乳酪厂吗？3个人尴尬的笑了起来。报警的人还说好久没看到你儿子了。啊，是的，他起了荨麻疹，他的病情一直没有像我预想的那样好转，我很担心他。我这阶段都快累死了，一堆事都得我处理。我老公总是说没有空帮我，他老是在工作。警察摘下帽子放在了胸前，看着妈妈抹着眼泪。啊，我很抱歉，女士。 我们不会再打扰您了，祝您的儿子早日康复。谢谢你们，我会转告他的。女儿的嘴被一只臭袜子塞住了，她的爸爸在她的身后用绳子绑住了她的胳膊。这个男人根本不知道应该怎么绑，他试图野蛮地迫使女儿的四肢处于不该在的位置。他已经没有灵魂了，这个男人。你妈妈照顾我们，你知道的不是吗？你能看出他有多爱你的哥哥，他最终会清醒过来的，到时候我们还是一家人。为什么他的爸爸一直在听那个怪物的话呢？女人忍不住发出低沉的哭声。最终这个男人转过来盯着她。这不是冰冷的一瞥，他的眼神中充满了心碎的痛苦。他把手搭在女儿的肩膀上，这一个动作本来可能是充满爱意的，但是爸爸已经迷失了自己，分辨不出这个动作的含义了。是的，没错，他是他的孩子，还记得吗？他意识到了自己在对他做什么。就在他听到妈妈返回的高跟鞋声时，他仅剩的一丝同情声也消失得无影无踪。你怎么花了这么长的时间跟我来门口？他的胳膊因为挣扎变成了鲜红色。不要离开他！在屋子的另一边，儿子的自由之声在嘲笑着他。一大块手部韧带和肌肉组织掉落在了轮椅上。最后，警察开车离开了。父母两个人没有回来给他解绑，是他们忘了，还是他们知道他还会再次挣脱？第25天，爸爸妈妈盯着掉在地上的黑色液体，它们又柔软又脆弱，就像湿掉的纸巾。同样的，这个孩子在快速地变得支离破碎，他黏糊糊的南瓜头在脖子上摇摇晃晃。我本来以为给他装上新的头之后他就会痊愈了，但是他现在越来越糟了。我到底哪里做错了？我们应该怎么做？爸爸已经不再回应了。对，如果我们把身体也换掉呢？他的身体和头根本就没有办法相符嘛，所以我们应该给他找一个新的身体。邻居的儿子跟我们一样大，跟我们家的孩子一样大。今晚把那个孩子带过来，不要让我等太久。我们儿子比他那个混小子更需要那具身体。女儿被低沉的挣扎和午夜声吵醒了。发生什么？地下室传来一声孩子的尖叫，解答了他的疑问。他会是下一个吗？他只能这样想。他开始祈祷，脚步声离他的卧室越来越近。他持续的祈祷着：“你妈妈想见你。”不要，不要！地下室有个不速之客，而且他已经死了。他的尸体是新鲜的，而他的头上的南瓜就更新鲜了。他的父母真的杀人了。在角落里，他哥哥的尸体被无情的扔在一边。看啊，亲爱的，快看，你哥哥现在好多了，你不开心吗？我们再也不需要担心了。全身都是血的妈妈向女儿走来，女儿想吐，但妈爸不让她动，她没有办法逃出这个疯狂的女王的手掌心。啊，我很高兴你也同意，一切都能回归正常了。不要忘了，你明天还得去上学，所以呢，你可以和哥哥一起去哦。他绕着轮椅阔步走着，因为他的最新作品而自豪满满。女儿知道不到1个月，那具尸体也会变得变质、腐烂，而这一切痛苦和折磨又要重新开始。就在妈妈说话的时候，那具新的尸体已经变得苍白了。我一直忙着为今天这一件事情做准备，结果忘了准备晚餐。现在可能都半夜了，但是我们吃一顿够全家吃的庆功宴怎么样？警察？怎么这么快？你果然什么都做不好，蠢老公，我就应该自己动手。爸爸只能默默地低下头。你就一直是个白痴，这都是你的错，你现在毁了我们的一切。 不要让他们到下面来，不然他们会带走我们的儿子。父母被放的心，现在就是逃跑的好机会。女儿使劲咬了爸爸的手，鲜血流了出来。她吓得往后跳了一下，女孩趁机挣脱她臂膀，冲向楼梯。你现在最好三思而行。妈妈把菜刀架在另一个孩子的脖子上。如果你离开我们，我就杀了他。你不会想再背负一次杀死你哥哥的罪责吧？这会让妈妈我很伤心的哦。我不怕动手，你不要再动了。有那么一瞬间，女儿几乎同情起了她的妈妈。这一整个月，妈妈一直在否认、找借口，幻想着她的儿子平安无事。就算是现在，她还把这具被斩首的尸体当作有价值的人质。什么？亲爱的，你想让我杀了他吗？有道理。反正我一直都更爱你。这个老女人面对着她的女儿，她的刀已经准备落下，她没有在开玩笑。宝贝，听妈妈的话，现在就下楼来。你已经给我惹了很多麻烦了。女儿马上就可以逃走了，但是她的腿动不了。格洛丽亚，她的心脏都要跳出来了。这是一个她熟悉的不能再熟悉的声音。哥哥，在房间的角落里，一个人把是她可怜的头转向她。这是怎么一回事？他不是应该死了吗？很抱歉，事情变成这个样子，那不是你的错。格洛丽亚，快跑！就现在！在说完最后这句话之后，他的身体散了架，变成一滩黑色稀泥。现在他是真的死了。这个了结正是他需要的，没有时间了。他咬紧了牙关，向楼梯口冲刺。他冲出房子，冲进了警察的怀抱里，就算很远，也能听到妈妈的嚎叫。嘿，小心，那是个孩子！你受伤了吗？你叫什么？他已经太久没有触摸一个温暖的人体了，他的坚持终于有了回报。别担心，孩子，我们会处理的。你现在安全了。你把种子埋进土里，时不时的浇点水，它们就会在10月成熟。哦，好酷哦！你种过的最大的南瓜有多大呀？很难说，也许有我们的汽车那么大。不可能，爸爸，你是个大骗子。爸爸笑了。但是我确实在一场周博览会上得过冠军呢。你们应该看看当时候你们妈妈的脸。在外面玩得开心吗？开心。开心。爸爸在告诉我们怎么种庄稼，怎么种这些南瓜。晚饭好了，你们3个最好快点去吃，不然饭就凉喽。最后一个要洗碗，最后一个进屋的要洗碗。等等我，你耍赖！爸爸，你怎么也跟着跑起来了？你的腿比我长，这不公平！南瓜甜啊，南瓜甜。妈妈为了留2个已死的受害者在身边，激烈的挣扎了一会，但最终还是被拽走了。过程中，她还不断的踢腿、尖叫，最终她被关进了精神病院。爸爸被指控犯罪绑架，之后不久，他就在监狱中自杀了。没有人会为他的死去而哀悼。因为没有其他的亲人申请女儿的监护权，她直接被送到了最近的孤儿院。在很长的一段时间内，这场悲剧变成了这个小镇的谈资。谁能想到那家少言寡语却非常热心的人会变成怪物的宿主呢？在孤儿院非常孤单，不论女儿洗了多少次澡，孩子们还是会不停地说她身上有恶心的味道。他甚至分辨不出是他们对他的嘲笑，还是他真的一直没能洗掉那间屋子带给他的死亡的味道。哦，可怜的孩子，我无法想象你的痛苦。不要担心， 我们会给你找个好的寄养家庭来照顾你的。至少那些修女们非常善良的忽视了她身上的气味。她和其中一个老修女成了朋友。这个修女因为高超的烘焙技能而出名。我今天烤了一个美味的南瓜派，你想来一块吗？哦，该死的苍蝇，快滚开！这个派不是给你的。很抱歉啊，这些苍蝇真的很烦。他们最近变得异常的大胆，我也不知道为什么。如果你想吃的话，我再给你切一块。请把它扔掉吧，我不饿。你确定吗？求你了，我再也看不下去了。好吧，亲爱的。故事结束了，你们觉得如何呢？这算不算是一个家庭伦理的悲剧呢？那我们今天的直播就到这边结束咯。谢谢各位来听这个故事，祝各位有个好梦。